Commander Park clutched the edge of his console as the ESS Dauntless shuddered. The warning lights flashed across the bridge, but none indicated critical damage. The ship had just absorbed a direct hit from an alien vessel's weapons. "Status report," Park ordered, his voice steady despite the surprise attack. Lieutenant Kim's fingers flew across her terminal. "Hull integrity at 92%, sir. Power system stable. That energy blast should have crippled us, but our outer shielding dispersed most of it." Through the main viewport, Park observed the strange ship surrounding them. The Dauntless had been on a routine survey mission when their new FTL drive had deposited them directly into what appeared to be a space battle between unknown alien forces. Sleek, symmetrical vessels with flowing lines exchanged colorful energy. "Beams in the distance. Are they hailing us yet?" Park asked. "Yes, sir. Multiple signals. The translation software is struggling, but it's making progress." "Put the strongest signal on screen." The view screen flickered, revealing a being with iridescent blue scales and 4 eyes set in a diamond pattern. The alien wore what looked like ceremonial armor across its shoulders. "Unknown vessel." The translation came through with only slight delay. "You have entered restricted Galactic Council space during a sanctioned border resolution. Identify yourselves immediately." Park straightened his uniform. As the first human to officially speak with an alien species, his words would become historical record. "I am Commander Park of the Earthship Dauntless. We are explorers from planet Earth. Our appearance in this region was unplanned. We mean no harm and seek peaceful contact." The alien's upper eyes narrowed while the lower ones widened, an expression impossible to read. "Your vessel absorbed a planet dispersal beam without disintegrating," the alien said. "This should not be possible for a ship of your size and apparent technological level." Lieutenant Kim whispered. "Sir, they're scanning us intensively." Park nodded. "Our ship is built with multiple protective systems. We value durability." The alien made a gesture with its 3-fingered hand. "I am Counselor Tay of the Unified Galactic Council. Your arrival is unprecedented. No new spacefaring species has been discovered in this sector for 300 cycles." More alien ships moved closer, their weapons visibly powered down. The battle that had been raging seemed to pause as attention turned to the human vessel. "We request permission to send representatives to your ship," Counselor Tay continued. "Standard protocol for first contact scenarios." Park exchanged glances with his first officer. "We would be honored, but request that the delegation be limited to 3 individuals. Our quarantine procedures require caution." This caused a visible reaction from the alien. "You would dictate terms to the council?" "Not at all," Park replied, smoothly. "We simply wish to ensure the safety of all involved. Our biological systems may be incompatible." After a brief pause, the alien seemed to accept this logic. "Very practical. The council appreciates caution. 3 representatives will prepare for transit to your vessel." As the communication ended, the bridge crew erupted in excited whispers. "Silence," Park ordered. "Begin first contact protocols. Medical team to the shuttle bay with full quarantine equipment. Security, standard welcome formation. Weapons present, but secured." An hour later, Park stood in the shuttle bay as a small alien craft docked with precision. The 3 council representatives emerged wearing what appeared to be environmental suits, led by Counselor Tay. The aliens moved with elegant caution, their 4 eyes constantly taking in details of the human ship. When they reached the reception area, Park noticed their focus on the exposed conduits and redundant systems visible along the corridor walls. "Your ship design is unfamiliar," Tay commented. "The Council has standardized spacecraft engineering for millennia." "Humans believe in redundancy," Park explained. "Every critical system has at least one backup." One of the other aliens introduced, as Engineer Han pointed to a manual valve system. "Physical controls, not neural or at least wireless interfaces." "We find physical controls survive electromagnetic disruption," Park said simply. The aliens exchanged looks through their transparent helmets. "Most interesting," Counselor Tay said. "The Council consists of 37 spacefaring species, yet none approached ship design as you have. Our vessels prioritize efficiency and elegance." Park led them to a conference room where displays showed Earth and the human solar system. We are new to interstellar travel, but we've been exploring space for over a century. Counselor Tay studied the images carefully. The Council will need to evaluate humanity's potential membership. Your unusual approach to spacecraft construction will be of particular interest to our security division. Park didn't miss the concerned undertone. We look forward to learning from the Council's experience. Indeed, Tay replied. Though I suspect the Council may have something to learn from humans as well, particularly about building ships that survive when they should not. Dr. Lee walked slowly through the metal corridors of Seoul Orbital Shipyard, leading the alien delegation with careful attention to their comfort. The 5 Council representatives wore thin environmental suits despite tests confirming Earth's atmosphere was safe for them. Old habits, Dr. Lee supposed. This way, please, she said, gesturing toward the massive construction bay where the destroyer Hemosu floated in partial assembly. This is one of our mid-range military vessels. Counselor Sun, the leader of the assessment team, moved with precise steps. His 4 eyes constantly shifted, recording everything. 2 security officers and 2 engineers accompanied him, all watching the human facility with poorly concealed shock. Your construction methods are primitive, Engineer June said, her translator struggling to soften the bluntness of her statement. Her 3-fingered hands gestured at the workers physically welding hull plates. Why not use molecular bonding? We find physical welds, when properly executed, withstand certain types of stress better, Dr. Lee explained. And they can be repaired anywhere, even without specialized equipment. The aliens exchanged glances. Dr. Lee had learned this silent communication was their way of expressing surprise or concern. May we examine the command center design? Counselor Sun asked. Dr. Lee led them to a completed bridge mock-up. The aliens spread out, touching controls and examining screens with their scanning devices. So many physical buttons, Engineer June noted. The Council abandoned such interfaces generations ago. Neural links are far more efficient. And completely useless when damaged or subjected to certain electronic warfare, Dr. Lee countered. Our sailors can pilot a ship with mechanical controls if needed. Counselor Sun's upper eyes narrowed. You design as if expecting your technology to fail. We design expecting everything to fail. Dr. Lee corrected him with a small smile. So, nothing truly does. The tour continued to the weapons bay, where missile systems and railguns were being calibrated. The entire delegation physically recoiled when they realized what they were seeing. Kinetic weapons? Counselor Sun's voice rose, sharply. Projectiles? The Council classified such weapons as barbaric centuries ago. Dr. Lee maintained her professional demeanor. Energy weapons can be deflected or absorbed. Physical projectiles must be physically stopped. We find a balanced approach most effective. Engineer June moved forward to scan the railgun assembly. The energy required to accelerate these projectiles is enormous, inefficient, but devastating when they hit, Dr. Lee said simply. The Council's military advisor, Captain No, had remained silent until now. Your ships carry 3 times the weapons load of equivalent Council vessels. Why? Because we build warships for war, Dr. Lee replied. Not for parades. The tour continued to a viewing platform overlooking a massive exercise area. Below, human sailors in heavy suits practiced damage control in a simulated hull breach. Real flames and decompression effects created a chaotic environment. As they watched, one sailor was thrown across the chamber by an explosion. Medical teams rushed in, treating what appeared to be actual injuries. You injure your people during training? Counselor Sun asked, all 4 eyes wide. Controlled injuries, Dr. Lee explained. How else will they learn to function while wounded? How else will medics learn to treat real trauma? Council forces train in perfect simulations, Captain No said. No actual harm comes to trainees. And when they face actual harm for the first time in battle? Dr. Lee asked. What happens then? The alien had no immediate answer. Later, in the engine room of a completed vessel, Engineer June's patience finally broke. This makes no sense. You have 4 separate power distribution systems. The weight alone is wasteful. The maintenance requirements must be enormous. 3 main systems and 1 manual backup, Dr. Lee corrected her. And yes, maintenance is constant. Our engineers train as hard as our soldiers. Counselor Sun had been examining the ship's specifications on a tablet. Your vessel designs violate at least 15 council efficiency protocols, yet you've incorporated technologies that should be beyond your development stage. Dr. Lee merely nodded. Human innovation rarely follows a straight line. The final stop was the crew quarters, which the aliens found equally baffling. The spaces were small but personalized, with physical photographs and personal items secured to walls. Your sailors bring decorations? Captain No asked. They bring reminders of what they're fighting for, Dr. Lee explained. Home, family, Earth. As the delegation prepared to return to their ship, Counselor Sun paused. Dr. Lee, I must be direct. The Council has concerns about human warship design philosophy. Oh? Your vessels are built not merely to fight, but to absorb punishment that would destroy Council ships 3 times over. They carry weapon systems we consider primitive alongside technologies that surprise us. Your crews train for scenarios we consider unacceptable. Dr. Lee waited patiently. In short, Counselor Sun concluded, human warships do not fit any classification in Council military doctrine. This presents challenges for your species integration. Perhaps, Dr. Lee suggested, your classifications need updating. Captain Choi stood on the bridge of the ESS Mighty, watching the tactical display with growing suspicion. What had begun as a joint training exercise with Council forces had suddenly shifted in tone. The 15 Council ships had altered their formation, now effectively surrounding the 5 human vessels. Captain, the sensor officer reported, Council ships are powering weapon systems. Their targeting arrays are active. Choi frowned. This wasn't part of the exercise parameters. Open channel to all human ships. Defensive posture Delta. The 5 human ships immediately began moving into a looser formation, increasing the space between them while maintaining supporting positions. On the main view screen, a Council representative appeared, Admiral Gill, who had planned this exercise. Captain Choi, the alien said, his 4 eyes blinking in their distinctive pattern. We have modified the exercise parameters. Your ships will now attempt to retreat while our forces pursue. This will test your evasion capabilities. Choi's years of military experience sent warning signals through his mind. Admiral Gill, we received no notification of this change. Standard protocol requires. The Council determines protocol. Gill interrupted. This is a test of readiness. Begin your retreat now. The transmission cut off abruptly. Choi turned to his communications officer. Contact Captain Min on the Dokkaebi. Captain Min's face appeared on a side screen. The female captain's expression was as concerned as Choi's. You thinking what I'm thinking? Min asked without preamble. This is no exercise, Choi confirmed. They're testing our combat capabilities, real combat. Min nodded grimly. Orders? Choi made his decision quickly. Implement Thunderstorm Protocol. All ships to engage with non-lethal tactics initially. Let's see what they really want. The human vessels suddenly burst into action. Instead of retreating, as ordered, they scattered in seemingly random directions. The Council ships, expecting a coordinated withdrawal, momentarily hesitated. That hesitation cost them. The Dokkaebi accelerated directly at the Council formation, while the Mighty released a cloud of sensor-jamming particles. The Council ships fired their energy weapons, but the human vessels had already changed positions. Sir, the Dokkaebi's taken a hit to her main propulsion, the tactical officer reported. Captain Min is switching to secondary drives. On the screen, Choi watched as Min's ship vented what looked like reactor plasma, a catastrophic failure by Council standards. The Council ships nearest to her began to pull back, not wanting to be caught in what they assumed would be an explosion. But there was no explosion. Instead, the vented plasma created a perfect sensor blind spot, through which the Dokkaebi launched a volley of electromagnetic pulse missiles. Clever, Choi murmured, then louder. Our turn. Target their flagship's sensor array. Non-destructive hits only. The Mighty fired its railguns, sending precisely calculated slugs of metal that sheared off external sensor equipment from the Council flagship without breaching its hull. The Council ships responded with increasing desperation, their coordinated formations breaking down as the humans refused to follow expected combat patterns. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "Captain Min is reporting engine failure. The Dokaebi is on collision course with the Council command ship." Choi watched the tactical display, knowing exactly what Min was doing. "All ships, cover the Dokaebi. Make it look good." The human ships unleashed a barrage of covering fire, making it appear they were trying to protect their stricken comrade. The Council ships, interpreting this as standard tactics, focused on blocking the apparent rescue attempt. None of them stopped the Dokaebi's controlled drift toward the Council command ship. "Impact in 30 seconds, the tactical officer counted. "Down." On the screen, Choi could see Council vessels frantically trying to move their command ship out of the way. Too late. They realized this was no accident. At the last moment, the Dokaebi fired maneuvering thrusters, turning its trajectory from a devastating collision to a perfect parallel alongside the Council ship. Magnetic grapples shot out, locking the two vessels together. "Boarding teams away," the communications officer reported with a hint of pride. Within minutes, Captain Min's voice came through the command channel. "Council command ship secured. Admiral Gill is requesting a ceasefire." The exercise ended abruptly. In the aftermath, Council representatives insisted there had been a miscommunication, that the live weapons had been a regrettable error. But Captain Choi wasn't born yesterday. In the debriefing room aboard the Council station, Admiral Gill could barely look at the human captains. "Your tactics were unexpected," the Council Admiral admitted. "Venting plasma to create sensor shadows, using apparent system failures as tactical advantages. And your boarding action—" He paused. "The Council has not seen ship-to-ship boarding in 300 years. If you wanted to see how we fight," Captain Min said bluntly, "you could have just asked." Captain Choi leaned forward. "Let me be clear, Admiral. You arranged this provocation to test us. You learned that human ships don't break when you expect them to, human captains don't retreat when you think they should, and human crews don't follow your rules of engagement. The Council will need to reconsider its assessment of human military capabilities," Admiral Gill conceded. "Yes," Choi agreed. "You will." As the human captains left the meeting, Min fell into step beside Choi. "They wanted to see what we could do," she said quietly. "Think they enjoyed the show?" Choi allowed himself a small smile. "I think they're terrified." Admiral Ryu stood before the large view screen, studying the devastation. The images showed the remains of a Council defense fleet, once beautiful ships now reduced to drifting wreckage. The alien attack had been swift and merciless. "Play it again," she ordered. The footage restarted. Sleek Council warships moved in, perfect formation against dark, angular vessels that seemed to flicker in and out of normal space. The Council ships fired their standard energy weapons in coordinated volleys. The dark ships simply shifted, the energy passing through where they had been moments before. Then the counterattack began. The enemy vessels, the outsiders as the Council called them, fired weapons that bypassed shields entirely. Council ships, designed for elegance and efficiency rather than survivability, broke apart under the assault. "Enough," Ryu said. She turned to face the delegation of Council representatives who had arrived at Earth's orbital headquarters just hours earlier. Grand Admiral Han, the highest-ranking military leader in the Council, stood rigidly in his ceremonial armor. His 4 eyes blinked slowly, a sign of extreme stress the human delegation had learned. 3 systems lost in 2 weeks, Han said. 72 capital ships destroyed. Millions of casualties. He paused. The Council requests Earth's assistance. Captain Huang, standing beside Ryu, couldn't contain his surprise. After spending months telling us our ships were primitive and our tactics barbaric, Admiral Ryu shot him a warning glance before addressing Han. "What exactly are you asking of us, Grand Admiral?" "Your ships," Han said simply. "Council vessels. Cannot survive contact with the outsiders. They use phase shift technology we've never encountered. They appear, attack, and vanish before we can respond effectively. Ryu nodded slowly. And you think human ships might fare better? Your vessels are... Han seemed to struggle for the right words. Overbuilt, redundant, primitive in some ways, yet innovative in others. Different from anything the outsiders have encountered. How many ships do you need? Ryu asked. How many can you provide? Ryu turned to her aide. Prepare the third fleet. Battle Group 7 is closest to the affected systems. And contact R&D immediately. I want phase shift countermeasures developed. Based on this footage. Han's upper eyes widened. You can develop countermeasures so quickly? We can try, Ryu said. Human engineers are good at solving problems on short notice. 3 days later, Admiral Ryu stood on the bridge of her flagship, the ESS Sejong, as it dropped out of FTL near the besieged Council world of Lumina. The planet's orbital defenses were already heavily damaged, and outsider ships prowled the system. Status report, she ordered. 23 human ships present and combat ready, her first officer reported. Council defense fleet down to 11 operational vessels. Outsider force estimated at 35 ships. Open channel to Grand Admiral Han. The alien's face appeared on screen. He was aboard one of the few remaining Council ships. Admiral Ryu, he acknowledged. Your arrival is timely. The outsiders are preparing another assault on our planetary defenses. We'll take point position, Ryu stated. Your remaining ships should fall back and protect civilian evacuation routes. Han's secondary eyes narrowed. With respect, Admiral, the Council has standard battle formations that have failed against this enemy, Ryu interrupted. My ships are equipped with experimental phase shift countermeasures. We need freedom to maneuver without concern for your vessels. After a tense moment, Han nodded. Very well. Council ships. We'll defer to human command for this engagement. As the Council ships withdrew to defensive positions, Ryu addressed her fleet. All vessels, implement Adaptive Protocol Theta. Weapons free, phase shift countermeasures active. The human fleet, spread out in what would appear to Council tacticians as a chaotic, unsupported formation. Each ship maintained significant distance from the others, seemingly vulnerable. The outsider vessels moved forward confidently, having easily dispatched organized Council resistance previously. They began their phase-shifting approach, flickering, in and out of normal space as they closed distance. Hold positions, Ryu ordered calmly. Wait for primary targets to commit. The outsider ships reached attack range and began their familiar pattern, shifting out of phase to avoid incoming fire, then shifting back to launch attacks. But this time, something different happened. As the first outsider vessel phased back into normal space to fire, 3 human ships immediately locked on with newly modified weapons. The special frequency disruption beam struck the enemy ship before it could phase out again. Target locked, called the weapons officer. Phase shift capability disrupted. All ships, concentrate fire on marked targets, Ryu ordered. The human vessels unleashed their mix of energy weapons and kinetic projectiles. Unlike the Council's elegant but standardized weapons, the human barrage was messy, varied, and overwhelming. The outsider ship trapped in normal space took devastating damage. On the tactical display, Ryu watched as her fleet executed the carefully planned strategy. The outsiders, accustomed to Council tactics, found themselves caught by human unpredictability. When they tried to target a human ship, they discovered vessels designed to absorb punishment that would have destroyed Council ships instantly. The battle raged for hours. Human ships took heavy damage but kept fighting long after Council vessels would have been abandoned. The Sejong itself lost an engine and had multiple hull breaches, but its redundant systems kept it operational. As the outsider fleet finally began to retreat, Grand Admiral Han's voice came through the comm system. Admiral Ryu, we have never seen such combat tactics. Ryu watched as damage control teams worked to contain fires on her bridge. That's because you build ships to fight wars according to rules. We build ours to survive them. Captain, G walked through the halls of the newly constructed Joint Space Academy. The building combined Council elegance with human practicality. Smooth curved walls contained exposed emergency systems, beautiful but with visible manual overrides. The facility orbited Earth, a symbol of the new partnership between humanity and the Galactic Council. G paused at a large viewport, watching as ships moved in the distance. Council vessels with their symmetrical beauty now flew alongside the more rugged human designs, but there were also new ships, hybrids that combined both approaches. Admiring the view, Captain? A voice asked from behind him. G turned to see his new colleague, Council Captain Doe. Her blue scales had a healthy sheen and her four eyes blinked in friendly greeting. Just thinking about how much has changed, G replied. 1 year ago, the Council thought our ships were ugly and primitive. Doe made a gesture that G had learned was the equivalent of a shrug. 1 year ago, we hadn't faced an enemy who could phase through our perfect designs. Your ugly, primitive ships saved my homeworld. They walked together toward the Academy's main training hall. Inside, mixed groups of human and alien cadets worked on various exercises. Some studied cross-sections of ship designs. Others practiced emergency procedures. Council instructors taught precise energy weapon calibration while human trainers demonstrated manual navigation techniques. The Council Security Committee meets today, Doe mentioned. They're finalizing the new ship classification system. G nodded. I heard they've been struggling with how to categorize human vessels. Hard to classify something that breaks all your existing rules. Doe agreed. They entered the observation deck above a large simulation chamber. Below, a training exercise was underway. A mixed crew of humans and council species operated a replica bridge. Artificial smoke filled the chamber as alarm sounds blared. Reactor containment failing, called out a human cadet. Rerouting through. Secondary coolant system. A council trainee responded, her tentacles working 3 control panels simultaneously. Secondary system damaged, the simulation computer announced. Catastrophic failure imminent. The human officer didn't hesitate. Manual override. Cut all computer control and switch to mechanical backup. The council cadets looked momentarily confused, but quickly followed their training. One raced to a wall panel, pulled a physical lever, and the simulated crisis stabilized. That would never have happened on a traditional council vessel, Doe observed. No manual backups, and human ships wouldn't have had the primary system efficiency to begin with, G replied. Together we're stronger. Their conversation was interrupted as G's communication device signaled. Captain G, please report to Conference Room 1. The council delegation requests your presence. When G and Doe entered the conference room, they found it filled with high-ranking officials from both Earth and the Council. Councillor Bayek, once the strongest critic of human military approaches, stood at the head of the table. Captain G, Beck acknowledged. We were just discussing your battle report from the Centauri defense. G bowed slightly. My crew performed admirably, Counselor. Indeed, a human vessel with Council weapons modifications crewed by both species. You sustained damage that would have destroyed a standard Council ship, yet continued fighting effectively. Beck's 4 eyes focused intently on G. This is precisely why we've made our decision. G waited as Beck activated a holographic display showing a new classification system for interstellar vessels. At the top of the military category was a new designation, HDW class. Human-derived warship, Beck explained. Officially classified as too dangerous for standard galactic warfare, not as a restriction but as recognition. Admiral Ryu, representing Earth in the meeting, nodded with satisfaction. So our ships are no longer considered primitive? They are considered game-changing, Beck replied. The outsiders have retreated from Council space entirely. Our analysis suggests they had never encountered vessels that could absorb so much punishment while continuing to fight. Their strategy relied on quick victories against predictable opponents. Captain Doe stepped forward. If I may, Counselor, it wasn't just the ships. It was the human approach to warfare itself. The willingness to take risks, to sacrifice when necessary. Beck nodded solemnly. Yes. The Council has existed for 10,000 years without facing an existential threat. We forgot that peace sometimes requires the ability to wage effective war. After the meeting, G and Doe walked together to the Academy's mess hall, where humans and aliens shared meals and stories. I heard you're getting a new command. Doe said. One of the hybrid destroyer prototypes. G nodded. The Harmony. First, of its class, Council precision with human redundancy. And a mixed crew, of course. Do you think it will work, long term? Our species are so different. Shay watched as a human instructor demonstrated emergency breathing techniques to a group of alien cadets. Look there, G said, pointing to where a council engineer was showing human students how to fine-tune energy shield harmonics. They said, our ships were too dangerous for galactic warfare. Now they're building their own versions. With human safety systems, Dew added, and council efficiency, G finished. The best of both approaches. Dew's scales rippled in what G now recognized as amusement. So the most dangerous ships in the galaxy are now protecting it. There's wisdom in that. And a good story, G agreed. One that will be told for generations.